Men of Reddit. What is a secret about men that only men know? If a man is walking and takes an unusually wide step, then resumes his normal gait, it's because his scrotum is stuck to his leg and he's trying to unstick it without sticking his hand down his pants. We start getting erections years before puberty and even before sexual thinking. Up until about age 40, every guy thinks that, with the right motivation and circumstances, he could go John Wick on a bunch of motherfuckers. This is one I didn't know until recently. Sit down and stare at your balls for a good solid minute. Those frickers constantly undulate and move around, like a goddamn bag of snakes. The reason men miss the toilet sometimes is because they never know which direction the stream is going to come out at. It could come out sideways. Then, you'll twist your body to put the stream where it belongs. And all of a sudden it'll straighten back out again. And you have to twist back to true. Not up acknowledging a friend. Not down acknowledging a stranger. Keep up the useless answers, boys. This is what we've been trained for. You know the notion that dads/old guys are dumb in women's eyes? Yeah. That's on purpose. They just want to chill, wearing Tommy Bahama shirts, and not have to argue about stuff. So they act a little clueless about things. They know exactly what they are doing, and it is an effective way to not have to argue about stuff or make decisions that don't need to be fought over. I see young guys slowly figure this out over time in their own relationships. It's pretty hilarious and is basically an unspoken universal truth. When you ask what we are thinking about, and we say nothing, it's not that we aren't actually thinking about anything. It's that we don't want to explain the train of thought that lead us to thinking about something absolutely ridiculous. The other day my wife and I were in the car together, and she asked what I was thinking about. She had recently dyed her hair red, and it reminded me of Ivy from Batman. I remembered the Uma Thurman scene from one of the old movies, and pictured my wife in her place walking over a bunch of half-naked dudes. I got jealous of my own imagination, and tried to figure out how many of those guys I could fight. Well, I'm not good at fighting, so I had to give myself an advantage of some sort. At this point my wife asked what I was thinking about, and I said how to fight 10 half-naked guys at once. She was confused and asked me to explain. It would have been much easier to say, nothing. Every stupid activity is competitive. Even when going for a run alone, you see a light pole and a car driving towards it, and your mind says, I have to reach the pole before the car or I'll die. And then you run. We can flex our peen so it looks like it's moving up and down. My last so was shocked. A man's romantic fantasy is the antithesis of what society expects out of a man during the dating process and during a relationship. Many women would probably think that a man just fantasizes about the kind of thing that you see in various adult videos. Sure, we have an animalistic side that thinks about that. But when we think with our heart, we fantasize about something completely different. When it comes to romance, a man, typically, is expected to take on a very active role. He's expected to make the first move and do something or be something to prove his worth to her right away. He's expected to walk up to her and put on a good enough show in order to qualify as a candidate. He needs to be charming and or funny and or other beguiling enough to receive a passing mark on the entrance exam to dating. For a man, dating is work. It's a lot of work. He needs to put his heart and soul into a performance just to hope that it is enough to be noticed. But society expects the opposite for a woman. She is allowed to just be there. She just needs to exist and be visible, and it's expected that she just needs to be available for a man to put on his display. Dating for a woman is far more passive. Not for all women, of course, but in general, women have things that they do, but little of it is socially active. Little of it comes with the risk of embarrassment or overt rejection. He comes to her and puts on his show, and then she decides, if he gets the chance, to move on to the next round of trying to impress her. The typical romantic fantasy from a woman's perspective is for a man to come and sweep her off of her feet. It's for the man to put on such a good, enchanting show that there's no way that she could possibly reject his advances. Her fantasy is to have the ultimate active partner. The vast majority of high-selling and extremely popular romantic movies or romance novels reflect this. So, Here's the point of all of this. A man's romantic fantasy is just be accepted for who he is. Men are tired of having to constantly put on a show. They are tired of putting so much of themselves into trying to read a woman in order to react to her and to be this wonderfully charming individual to pass her barrier of entry. He's tired of having so much on the line and then waiting those gut-wrenching moments where she's silently deciding, over the course of the attempt, whether he gets the thumbs up or thumbs down. A man just wants to be wanted for who he is a regular basis. He wants someone who stand by his side and support him, even when he can't be on. He wants a moment to feel what's it like to have that more passive role where someone else makes him feel desirable simply for being there. He wants a partner to show him that he matters for no reason other than being recognized as someone who actually does matter. A man just wants to be wanted. If we pee at a urinal while wearing shorts, we can feel the backsplash on our exposed legs. I never wipe it off and have never seen another guy do so either afterward. There you go, ladies. That when we have a blank look on our faces, there is a strong likelihood that absolutely nothing is going on in our head. Just because a woman is viewed as hot doesn't automatically mean we are attracted to them. Case in point, Scarlett Johansson. Oh, I'll freely admit, she's beautiful, but for whatever reason, I don't find her attractive. She's just not my brand. Dating apps are completely different for us. Pretty much every time I match with a girl on Tinder, she's the only match I'll get all week. Meanwhile, she's vetting me against the 10 other guys she's matched in the last 5 minutes. It's hard not to be a little bitter every time I hear female friends talking about how ridiculously easy it is for them to find dates on Tinder. How to be friends with someone without having to talk to them every single day about trivial crap. Boxer briefs are better than boxers or briefs. Pooping doesn't really take 15 minutes. I'm usually reading a chapter in peace or browsing Reddit. We notice when you don't make an attempt to split the bill, and it factors into our decision to go on another date with you. Nice try, foul wenches. Every guy, regardless of background, race, sexual identity, religion, nationality or taste in music, has at one point in his life happened upon a marvel of woodwork and said to themselves, I could do this. We have a highly scientific protocol for selecting urinals in public bathrooms. The pee shiver. I hate when people don't know this, but we don't only get erections when we are turned on. I can be in the middle of math class and get as hard as I've ever been in my life. There's no sense to it, no way to tell when it's going to happen, and no way to tell if a boner is from arousal or just a random one. The seamless collaborative guy lie. Hey baby, what are you guys watching? Carla. Football. Turk. Everyone agrees. Football? Isn't the season over? Carla. And then every male in the room felt totally in sync, resulting in the rarest of all phenomenon, the seamless collaborative guy lie. JD's narration. The American season is over. We were watching Mexican football. Keith. They started late this year. Doug. Because of the churro vendors. Todd. They went on strike and the players wouldn't cross the picket line. Ted. When the dispute turned violent, they called in Rodrigo Vasquez, the owner of the Badger Panditas, to step in. JD. Thanks to Senor Vasquez's experience dealing with the fruit pickers unions, he was able to broker a last-minute deal, and the season was salvaged. Dr. Kelso. And that's why we are watching football in the spring. Turk. We have monthly meetings in regards to how best to enforce the patriarchy. On the agenda are issues such as paying women less, removing bodily autonomy, and ensuring women pay more for goods. We also have lovely sandwiches made for us. All in all, it's really a great time. We have zero comprehension of hints or tips. If we ask a question, we expect a direct response. If you want us to do something, tell us precisely what you want done and that's what will happen. If you ask our opinion, you'll get it. There's no hidden meanings, etc. We say what we mean and mean what we say. Aiming our best to remove crap marks in toilet, and screaming bullseye in our mind when it happens. Good old stage fright. The inability to pee because you're standing next to a dude in a public bathroom. Some of us are more susceptible than others. I have used my erect peen to hold a towel in various situations. We can condense an entire sentence down into a single grunt, combined with intonation and body language. An example from a recent road trip with my parents. What we said. Me, so the service station is coming up soon. Shall we stop there for dinner? Dad, yeah, I think so. What my mum heard. Me, grunt. Dad, grunt. In emergencies our peens can double as a lasso. There are waterless urinals, where you point your pee at a bee. Sitting in a dressing room waiting for a significant other to try on a bunch of clothes invokes homicidal reactions in all men. We don't get enough credit for not burning this world to the ground over that one. The peen is an inefficient stylus. We also have feelings and sometimes cry. After sex. From the post-cuddle stage onwards we are not rating the experience, or comparing it to past girlfriends. We are now thinking, if we were to go to war with animals as our allies, would it be right to ask the smaller birds to fly in and peck at our enemies' eyes? Also, would a 50 calories be best mounted on a rhino being manned by a chimp, or the back of a tiger being manned by a squirrel? Could we use eagles as long-range reconnaissance? Would air superiority be as important as the ground battle? Would it look bad if we ate chickens after they died in battle? The morals of animal warfare need to be discussed. Anyone else have full-blown arguments in your head with someone that's not even there? Or should I see a doctor? Of course I would still love you. If you got fat doesn't mean I would still be attracted to you, want to have sex with you, and be proud of being seen with you if you got fat. We can indeed multitask. 90% of men wank. 10% lie about it. We know fine doesn't mean fine. The first rule of the men club is never talk about the men club, except in knowing grunts and head nods. We actually can read women's minds. We just pretend not to. We don't need to try on the clothes you got us. They fit. And even if they don't, we're gonna squeeze into them and wear it for 10 years anyways. Men aren't as romantically dense as you'd think. They just ignore subtle approaches because it's very easy to misunderstand, and a guy would rather pretend to be ignorant than be wrong and embarrassed. Men have fake orgasms too, just not as often. If you have to crap so bad that your peen starts twitching, find a bathroom and fast, cause it's happening. Your pubococcygeal muscles, taint, basically control the peen flex muscle and the arsehole squeeze muscle. When you literally can't hold it much longer, it will spasm and your peen will move. Fellas, give it a try, but make sure you're near a bathroom. If a man pull his pants from front or touch his privates through pockets of his pant, he is trying to separate the balls and peen as they stick a lot. We all can build a deck. The reason we don't generally like clothes shopping is a weird thing in our brains, where we find it much easier to shop quickly and in secret, and just give off the vibe that, oh, yeah, I've always had these perfect new shoes, rather than indicate that we had to go buy them yesterday. I still don't understand why it is, but I'm guilty of it. I'm a woman, and this doesn't truly answer Op's question, but I have a somewhat relevant story. My husband loves to troll, and he especially loves trying to get me to believe random crap that isn't true. He once adamantly swore to me that all men sit backward to poop on public toilets, and women just didn't know it. Of course I didn't believe him, and I dismissed him as being an ass, but he kept it up. For months he would bring it up randomly, and keep insisting it was true. He even came up with a huge list of reasons why they do it. The back of the bowl curves away more, and your peen is less likely to touch the nasty public bowl. If you pee sitting down facing forward on a public john, the little cute out portion of the seat makes it splash your legs. On and on with this. I finally got fed up and texted both of my brothers-in-law. They both agreed it was true. They began telling my sisters the same thing. In continued disbelief, my sisters and I talked about it and had no idea what to think. I resorted to asking my best male friend. He texted back, of course we sit backward. You didn't know that? Little did I know my husband actually had the forethought to preemptively contact all the males in my life that he knew I would actually be brave enough to ask. Finally one evening my whole family was out to dinner, include my oldest sisters-in-laws. Somehow the topic came up. Remember, my brothers-in-law have been telling my sisters the same crap, and I finally decide to end the debate once and for all. I turned to my sister's father-in-law. and asked him point blank to his face if he sits backward on public toilets. He stared at me with his mouth slightly agape, hesitated, looked around the table at the other men, then turned back to me and said with feigned confusion at my ignorance, "Well yeah, my husband is a jerk." If you are uncircumcised and a virgin and a girl gives you a rough hand job, the little skin holding the turtleneck on top will pop and you will bleed a lot of blood. It's possible for a man to look at your cleavage without actually looking directly at it. If you want me to do something, ask me. Don't ask me what I want to do and get angry with every answer I give until I find out the one you were thinking of. Up nod equals acknowledgement and down nod equals don't know you, but I mutually respect you. There is no sensation on earth more painful than having a pube caught in your foreskin. Women buy the crap test presents. 9/10 it's not even related to what we really truly want. Our guy mates would know in a heartbeat. Not a dude, but I didn't realize they had to check their balls for lumps. We can poop standing up. We like kittens. Right before or right after we stop peeing we get a shiver. I don't know why, but it's something even guys don't talk about. We have a little drug pocket in our boxer briefs. I suppose you could use it to hide other small things too. Men absolutely can sit there silently and not think of anything. Nothing at all. Laundry day is a very dangerous day. The only thing that happens at bachelor parties is wasted bowling. You hear that? Wasted bowling. Until now, upon first seeing any member of the sex to which they are attracted, that is, gay men are men, too, men mentally think yes or no they would have sex with the person. We all masturbate, and sometimes we masturbate right after sex, thinking of the sex we just had. The lunge on a hot summer day. If you see us spread our legs for a second and then back to normal, most likely our balls are stuck to our thighs. We can speak to each other telepathically. A woman will never give you a better hand job than the one you give yourself. And 80% secrets shared here are related to male genitalia. Urinals are often portrayed in movies with people peeing right in front of them. Actually they are used as target practice/acrobacy training. You know the blind man who sits in the toilet? He's there to keep track of points and take the bits. I might get removed from the men club, but I'll explain further. One step away is 10 PTS and 10 points are added to every step back we take. 1 foot in the air adds an additional point per second. For the fancy stuff, handstand starts at 20 points and 2 PTS per seconds. Bridge/backwards peeing starts at 30 PTS and 2 PTS per seconds. Forced split stream into 2 different urinals doubles your points. I'll keep them to your own imagination, but that's the basics. Sorry my fellow men. The amount of unspoken competition between guys when an attractive female enters the room. It might not be 100% obvious off the bat, but every guy in the room is competing against each other to impress her. Nobody says anything, and there's no head nod or handshake or anything that we give each other. It's just an automatic competition that gets started among the other men as soon as she walks in the door. Ladies with boyfriends, try this next time you're in a group. Bring one of your friends who's at least decently attractive and try to organize a group event. Go to a bar or something as a group. All the other dudes will know you're taken, but will know your friend is single. Watch how the other men in the group talk to her and behave when she's there, then organize the same group outing again, but without your single friend. I guarantee the behavioral difference will be very noticeable. Hell, some men don't even realize when they're acting differently or trying to compete. It's almost like an involuntary response that just happens, whether you want it to or not. Notes. All men who have answered this question, please report to the nearest office to turn in your man card. If you do not do so voluntarily, we will have someone come out to forcibly retrieve it. You were warned not to share our secrets. I'm not telling, because then it wouldn't be a secret. That one thing that all guys do when the women aren't around. You know what I'm talking about, guys. We try to dumb down in conversations with attractive women so they have an opportunity for relevant input. Sorry guys. A finger in the right place can be very effective. Some of us have a hard time, at least for a while, telling when a girl isn't into us, because we are not used to getting any sort of attention from girls, even at a friendship level. At some point every man will want to own one or more of the following tools, ranging from the mundane to cool: shop vac, wet/dry, lathe, pressure washer, chainsaw, axe for splitting logs shirtless, even if there's no fireplace. This is only known by a small group of men who I have spent my childhood and back when we were just boys. Back in my kindergarten days we had regular bathroom breaks. The teachers would take us to the washrooms and let us do our thing. But you see, there are 4 toilets and 12 boys. To speed things up, the practical choice was to share. That's right, we crossed streams. And it was fun. Trying to overpower one another. Trying to cross 3 streams into a single point. It was a challenge. It was camaraderie. It was a brotherhood. You know the old saying that 2 people can keep a secret if one of them is dead. There are over 3,500,000,000 men. There's no secret that only we know. Men's feelings can be hurt too. Okay ladies, do you remember the time you asked your fella to go do something with you that he didn't want to do? He said yes anyway, right? And then he accidentally did something embarrassing, and you decided to stop asking him to do that with you, right? Yeah, that wasn't an accident. If you take me shopping for fabric, I'm going to ask the person behind the counter how much leopard print fabric she thinks I'd need to make some new thong underwear for myself. A stolen story from my dad. We are staring at your ass. If you're not sitting down, we are staring at your ass. Biologically, we are sizing you up to see if you would bear children well, but out in society, we are checking you out, and you have a great ass. When you ask us what we are thinking about, and we say nothing, we literally mean nothing. The male brain has the ability to be absolutely vacant yet maintain basic bodily functions and limited conversation. It's essentially autopilot. When you ask us what we want as a gift and we say, peace and quiet, we mean exactly that. It wasn't a joke answer. We actually can, and often do, think about literally nothing. Nothing. Total void, blackness in the mind. It's our way of alleviating ourselves from the pressures of daily life, and having to make up an opinion on some unimportant topic you've hit us with as we sit in proximity to each other. That we'd rather be single, but here we are. We leave the toilet seat down on purpose. We get almost zero social media interaction. Unless you have the physique of an underwear model or you're super famous, most guys get 0 to interactions of any kind on social media. I was talking to a girl, and she said she would delete any tweet or Instagram that didn't get 10 likes in the first 5 minutes. My wife complained about only 30 people liking some posts she made. I told her the only posts I've ever made that many likes: we are getting married, and the birth of our son. I love this thread. We can't tell the difference between a 15-year-old girl and an 18-year-old girl a lot of the time. It's a strange thing in our society that they are 100% off limits till the day they turn 18 and suddenly they are over-sexualized to a crazy degree. Now we can say she's hot, but she looked exactly like that for a few years now. I refuse to check any girl out who looks under 25 unless I have some evidence of legality. There are no men, only boys and larger boys. Men solve problems. It is how we are wired. Come to a man with anything resembling a problem, we will try to solve it. Women don't understand this. They want to vent about a problem just for the sake of venting, where men instinctively see a problem to be solved. I'm good at folding towels. Morning is not always a pleasant thing. Sometimes guys roll over in their sleep and get a hard on that bans their peen. You wake up with freaking played-out dumbbell for a pecker, and the first time it happens as a teen, you freak right the frick out because it looks so wrong. Thankfully as a kid, I had an awesome pediatrician, so when I explained this to him, he told it's not unusual and that a good way to prevent it is to tuck a pillow between my knees to keep from rolling over. We've thought about boning every one of your decent looking friends. Ladies,